this very, very sophisticated, practiced, highly skilled, the method that's used by Anita and Tony Bongiovanni and Justin Taylor. So the fact that they're all using the same techniques, the same script, the same narrative, and cooperate with each other and work with the two police stations. And now it seems with the courts. What they do to steal my mom's life savings, her two houses, at these two jurisdictions, the West Valley Police Department and the Devonshire, they report to police, to APS, to the courts about me, what they're doing. And then they say about me, he's having delusion. In that report to the court, Anita's saying Zeke's having delusion that Anita's trying to euthanize my mom through palliative methods, make it look legal, and take her property. Now, when I was evicted there, the videos that what happened at Lassen, where my mom's house is, I couldn't get access to myself. The video there clearly shows how Tony Bongiovanni was there. He showed his evidence. They completely neglected my reports of Anita and Tony Bongiovanni's felonies. Now, put them in the description here. I couldn't get a chance to get my stuff out. I got a lot of stuff in that house. A lot of very, very precious stuff. And all of mom's documents were there. Now, I get up this morning, and I have witness, and the files are there. I look up to find my iPad, to check the location that was there, and I didn't have a chance to get it because I was put in handcuffs and taken out. To check if it's there at last, and it's not. It's at an address in Tucson, Arizona, where Anita and her dad live, but not the address and we would visit. I know their houses. It's at an address. I look up that address. It has in it the address where my iPad is, that was stolen from the house on Lassen, my mom's house, while I have the restraining order against me. That address where Find My iPhone shows my iPad is now in Tucson, Arizona. I look up that address. It says Anita Tortillo and Nahid B. Matusi. So my mom, Anahid Matevosian, last name we used to use in the past was Matusi, and Anahid, she has used in the past, prior version of her name, Anahid, was Nahid. It doesn't have the A in the beginning. That shows up when I'm looking up that address where my iPad is showing up on my Find My iPhone, Find My device. Have they taken my mom there? So there's secrecy. Now, add on to that Vasenik, my mom's sister in Carmel, had passed and they were keeping it secret. And assumption is that, and I was told Albert's wife, Melissa, wanted that house. Mom told me Anita wanted to live in mom's house on Lassen with her boyfriend or husband, Nick. And then her sister, Galupse. I have the audio that very day, just before we had that incident with Tony Bongiovanni and Anita. We were at Chatsworth Park, and we were calling Mom's other sister Apo or Arpenik, and we were inquiring about Galupse. And we had been told she's recovering from surgery, either knee replacement or hip replacement. But we weren't told that she's passed. But now, the other day, Anita told me that she's passed. And she had passed a month ago. She had gone to the memorial, but she hadn't told us that she's passed. She had told us that she's recovering from surgery. So, and then there's been complete communication blackout. I have filed against me restraining order, and the judge never looked at anything I have. Completely, she had the whole folder full of evidence that she was handed. I didn't get a chance to look at it. I didn't know it would be taken away. But I think in that is the evidence, like that it's all complete lies, fabrication, half-truths, the method she uses. She was accusing me of elder abductions when Mom kept not wanting to go back to Silverado. I have that video. I'll post it on the description here. Mom didn't want to go back to Silverado. We just needed Anita's permission for Mom to stay the night. And she was refusing. She says, if you don't take her back now, I'll report you elder abduction. So they report about me consistently what they themselves appear to be doing. And then saying he's delusional for thinking that we're trying to get rid of his mom and take her 2 properties and her life savings. So the facts are there. A delusion is a belief that isn't true. When I show the facts that support the evidence that supports what I'm saying is true, even though it sounds crazy, that's their method. They perpetrate in a way. They do things that sound crazy when you report it, and then say he's delusional for thinking we're doing this. He's the one doing it. The formula method, I think it will be explained. If that evidence folder about me that I was handed yesterday, discovery, at Van Nuys Court, if I get a hold of that, the origin of that method, and make it public, I don't think I'm the only person I think all across America, this is a method. I want to find out what the origin of it is. And it has to take houses from elderly that are of Middle Eastern origin. It uses, so many involved in it have hatred towards Middle Eastern from 9/11, the World Trade Center event that was perpetrated by our own people, amongst which Rudy Giuliani and Mike Velarde, who expresses hatred towards Middle Eastern people, who is supporting Justine Taylor, Tony Bongiovanni, Tanya's brother, Richard Holloway, has hatred towards me and people because I reported the murder of his dad. So, and then Sam Tortilla, Anita's dad, who says that horrible joke about genocide on Arabs, Muslims, they all share that sentiment. It is a hate crime. That hate seems to be generated from 9/11, which was intentionally perpetrated as a rationale for war against Middle Eastern people. And then another coincidence, the method they use, they've been using on me for 5 years, false 911 calls daily from both properties that my mom owns, targeting me, in which cops come and poke at the sore repeatedly and to get reaction from me, to get me angry, for the intention of arresting me for hitting a cop. That intention is there in the conversation between Anita, Neda, and Tanya, them collaborating together to bring about that result. Specifically, it says that they wanted me to be in jail for 6 months for hitting a cop. And their APS reports about say he's angry. They piss you off and they say, with use of law enforcement, repeated calls, and the police always scold on me, taking their side always, and then they report he's angry, he's delusional that we're doing this to him. 9/11 was done as a provocation for war, and they keep poking me with calling 911 false reports to provoke my response, to frame me as the people in the Middle East were framed. They didn't do it. It was framed. They were involved in the framing of Middle Eastern people because they wanted to get the insurance money for the World Trade Center. They didn't want to take the asbestos out of it. It was too costly. They decided way back in the 80s. This plan was initiated way back in the 80s, and Rudy Giuliani was involved instead of doing the high cost of demolition, which couldn't be done the regular way because it's in an area where it's all these high-rises, they had to go remove the asbestos. It's too costly. So they did the demolition charges throughout the building, which was the only way to get it to fall. It wouldn't fall with just the planes crashing into it. It had to have all the demolitions from top to bottom on every floor, the explosives that was set off when the planes crashed in at the top, if that's what happened. Some say that didn't even occur at all. But there's no way that building, the World Trade Center, would have collapsed if demolition explosives weren't planted all the way on every floor from top to bottom. The steel reinforced is over-designed. The columns to support it cannot collapse unless there's demolition. Just a plane crashing at the top wouldn't do it. So they framed that. They also did that, blamed it on the Arabs to get American population to hate Arabs, and that's why what's being done to me, that fuels it. People don't give a crap because it's happening to a Middle Eastern man. They don't care. They've told me, who cares who the attacks on me for reporting what's going on? Miriam Prizel, city council member, the people at that dog park, to this day, all the people in my around me who say they don't care that it's happening to me. They see it's going on. They don't care at all. And one of the reasons, because I'm Middle Eastern, they don't hate people who are of Middle Eastern origin, a lot of it because of the terrorist attacks that were framed. They were staged. There's a movie, Iron Man 3, I think, one of the Iron Man movies, where they have Ben Kingsley play a man like reminiscent of Bin Laden, and he's like a British actor. He's brought into a studio to play the part of a Bin Laden-like character who's doing terrorism. That's fictional, but it represents what's going on. It's all staged to make people hate Middle East and attack individual people of Middle Eastern origin across this country. I don't know how many people it's done to, but this method is being practiced across the country. The methods are systematic. They all use the same script, the same protocol. This needs to be looked into. Get this story on the news, then they will investigate it and see all the people who are involved in doing this, all the people to whom it has been done to, the origin of this method. The truth must be revealed publicly. In Jesus' name, amen.